Core values.
Okay, core values. So this year we have 300 people who work at Barstool Sports, which means basically what's happening is there's people who work for people who work for people who are like, we're bringing on so many people that even I used to have every person who worked for Barstool in my phone.
Mm.
I would have their cell phone in my phone and I would know who they were. And because in the early days, we were always in trouble and there was always something going wrong. So you needed to reach someone at any time, anywhere. But when we got so big, you just kind of get disconnected from like, who are we hiring and what are they doing? And, how'd they get here? And what do they know of Barstool Sports? You know what I mean? And the thing that I get worried about is when we start to look like other companies. Like the bigger we get, the more we have to work to stay like the pirate ship. Because when you add a lot of people, you just become like bigger. You just become a bigger company.
More
you know what I mean? More corporate. And I don't really want to be corporate. I do think we should be really effective. So we have 8 values, right? And we rolled the values out because basically we're hiring a lot of people. We should be firing a lot of people, and we should be hiring and firing people based on those values, right? Like common sense.
Boys. No. I'm just thinking we were literally just talking about doing that. I wasn't trying
About firing people?
JP, you
Who's
did
gonna
great,
get
man.
fired over here?
No, nobody. We were just doing like an exercise last week where we were
There's a
coming
couple
up.
people up in the back there hanging out by a thread.
We were the dark
We're not
back
going to say
corner.
who. We're not going to
But,
say who. There's a couple back there.
Learn like putting together core values, and then it kind of dictates the longevity of them like being there.
Yeah.
I got it from the book Traction.
Okay. I haven't
But
read that book. Do you
anyway,
read a lot of
continue to
business
go.
books? You strike me as someone who reads business
I wouldn't say I read a lot. I dabble in a lot of business
okay.
books.
Okay, like flip
Well,
through
I'll
it.
like get the stuff, and then I think I have an idea. I start running with the idea. I forget to continue to read the
Okay,
book,
that's
and then I
okay.
got to come back
Yeah.
around to it.
Okay. So anyway, so we have values.
Yeah. What are the core 8 values?
So
Ooh, put her on the
common
spot. I love
sense.
that.
Makes sense.
That's easy. That's like the Dave Portnoy value.
Right. Well, he didn't. He's got more common sense now.
Big common sense guy sometimes doesn't use common sense.
Right. Okay, I would agree. I
You're
get
a
on board
big
with
common
that.
sense guy sometimes doesn't use common sense.
Right.
That's Dave. That's one. To be the solution, not part of the problem. So as we get bigger, it's easy just to sit around and like rubberneck on like everything everybody else is doing wrong. But
Yeah.
like, what are you doing to fix it? I get very irritated with that. So that's a value. Another value is put the stoolies first. Like put your fan first. Whether your fan or your customer is a salesperson or a brand or a stoolie or whatever it may be, like the difference with us is that we're just so close to the audience that if you're on television, the people at NBC don't really ever think about who's watching this episode of this show. It's a number in a Nielsen rating book, right? Like you guys are thinking about it because people are chirping you based on whether your guests sucked or they agreed with what you said or they disagree or they think they should be in a different tier or whatever. So keeping your fan first is really important. Like Big Cat's very good about this. Like Big Cat has one of the single highest engagements at Barstool because he talks to his people all the time. He's just always responding. He's always talking to them. He tweets, I want to say in a week on average, like something like 200 plus times.
No shit.
So
Yeah,
there's
he's a good
high
follow.
He's a great follow.
He's a great follow.
He's a great follow. He's great at Twitter, but he also is highly engaging because he's always thinking when they do, pardon my take, it's the AWL. Like, how do they think about the listener? How do they think about the listener? So that's a value. What other values? Be authentic. So don't be kind of like the Vrabel thing. Like, don't be something you're not. Don't speak to something you don't know. That's an important one. Next one is like just diversity of thought. Like people think that Barstool's so not diverse, but if you walk around New York, our office in New York, like we got a lot of weird people. We got people who come from all different places. So being open to other people's ideas. As we've grown, we tend to have people who like just want to hold things tight, and they're like, we do this because we do it this way, and it's like, well, why the fuck do you do it that way? Like, is that the best way to do it? People at work, I think, don't like to be challenged. Like you're challenged all the time on the field. Like, why'd you do that play? That was dumb. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this when you joined. Like, you guys get a lot of very critical feedback,
and it's
every
fast
day.
too. It's literally like well, you come off the
There's
field.
no performance review.
If you go 3 and out, and then you come off the field, the coaches will be like, "Have that plays like, why? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, this is not your guy.
Right.
You're not supposed to be doing this technique." It's very quick, and it's weird for us.
Halftime.
And at halftime,
And after the game.
and in the morning, like you hit
And then you're
you hit
watching
the game.
film and then you get it all over
and,
again.
and then God forbid you watch it by yourself and you had a bad game.
Yeah. And
You're
like,
just watching that thing on repeat going,
it's like Linda
I'm done.
Ronstadt's playing.
Right.
It's just the tears.
Fucking just sad.
For the next day, you're like, fuck.
So are you
I've watched
guys
this
like
100
that on
times.
here?
No, we used to be when we first started. We would call each other on the way home from podcasts, be like, hey, do you think that was good? Like, what could we have done different? Blah, blah, blah. And we're finding more of a groove now of just like really enjoying it and not cutting as much stuff.
Okay.
Like, we've had a couple pods that we had to cut, 30, 45 minutes ago, a couple
Because
people.
they were bad or?
They were sloshed. A couple guys get a little tips. A couple guys feel, And then also we like to be like friendly to the person that's on the podcast.
Yeah.
So if we had a Roman Yossi on who's the captain of the Predators, and we were telling like first time we jerked off stories.
Okay.
And he told his story, and then he left and called me and was like, I probably shouldn't have done that. So we just cut it.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think through that, it's just become more fun. Like we sit on here for 45 minutes to an hour, and it's an absolute blast. Oh, it's awesome.
That's what it should be.
Yeah, I think
It's
a lot of the stuff we do is comes from outside of like maybe the actual like stuff we're saying in the episode. Like we're always talking, like we're all always kind of like game planning the way we might word content, the way we might do stuff on YouTube, the way we post, changing up Twitter. So I mean a little bit, but as far as like us being on the bus, I mean, I don't think we listen to a whole lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of the clips.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll try and find like watching Big Cat from afar, the way he talks to his audience, you start to figure out like these blueprints that are out there. And it's like, how can I kind of take my unique way of doing
how would I apply that?
Apply it?
Yeah. So look, like, I think most people don't like feedback. Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, I don't know. When you turn your head, I get a little like, oh, maybe I need to get that a little closer.
What producer you are.
Was it?
Yeah, that's a weird thing with like the real world that I think is like difficult.
Real world
for people to
like
understand.
feedback.
Like if you're criticized, people are like, "Oh, something's wrong with me. I'm this. I'm that." It's like, no, dude. Like you just got to figure the shit out. Like
a shitty play.
if you just stop taking shit personally all the time, you're probably going to be 1,000 times better off as a person in general.
That's right.
I hope you guys like this clip. If you want to continue to be for the boys, you need to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, and check out our playlist. We have all the links right here on the screen. As always, biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses. Also, go check out the full episodes, but always for the boys.